Welcome back to Bombadil Tree Farm, an American tree farm system certified family forest since 1978 and proud recipient of Maine's Outstanding Tree Farmer of the Year Award for the year 2022. The Chapter 4 video in this series examined what nature had given us for regeneration in the clear cuts, and we began to plan our next forest. In this process, I was very fortunate to tap into the experience and expertise of several professionals, including Jesse Saunders, who, during his greater than 20-year career with Irving Woodlands, planned, organized, and supervised the planting of more than 60 million trees on more than 80,000 acres. 80,000 acres is about 32,000 hectares. Shown here on the left is Jesse's close colleague, Irving Woodlands forester Chris Houston, who also offered insight and advice. Joe Wiley also graciously offered his invaluable comments based upon the knowledge and experience he acquired over his 50-year career as a certified wildlife biologist. To wrap things up, my consulting forester for more than 30 years, seen here on the left, offered his comments and recommendations. Ken's critical insights have never missed the mark. Although the surface organic layer is an essential component of a healthy forest soil, it has many shortcomings for seedling establishment and survival. You will remember Jesse emphasizing how important it is to plant seedlings in the mineral soil just below the organic surface layer.
You cannot plant until you get down to your mineral soil. Now, fortunately, the organic layer's not too bad here. You can see that the reddish gray soil, we hit it right away. Some of the spots where I've kicked, you got to go quite a ways to get down through your organic.
This is not surprising when we look at the adaptations many tree species have made over thousands of years to respond to the natural disturbance patterns that commonly occur in the forests of our region. Natural fire here is a rarity, but individual tree and small patch windthrow, also referred to as blowdown, is quite common. This series of photos on Bombadil Tree Farm shows one such wind-thrown balsam fir with its large root mass exposing mineral soil and folding what had been the surface organic layer back upon itself. As its root mass decays and the soil held within it erodes, the upturned mass will settle into a low mound. Many long-lived late successional tree species of the sort that we want to predominate in our next forest have evolved to find such conditions provided by this kind of natural disturbance ideal for seedling establishment and survival. Scandinavian foresters have and continue to lead the world in innovative silvicultural thinking and technology. Several years ago, they developed a system, along with the required machinery, to artificially create conditions that mimic this natural windthrow disturbance. They call it creating an inverted furrow. Here in northern Maine, we call it disc trenching. After visiting my clear-cut blocks, both Jesse and Chris recommended disc trenching prior to replanting. You will probably remember from Chapter 1 of this series, Andrew, the Irving Woodlands forester, committed to working with me throughout my forest restoration efforts. He invited me to join him to inspect disc trenching in process on some of his company's recently harvested timberland, and this is what we saw. The disc trenching apparatus is mounted on a forwarder, equipped with tire lags that distribute the machine's weight. The unit travels over a mat of stumps and slash with minimal to no soil compaction. The hydraulic motors driving the cutting discs are synchronized with the forwarder's wheel rotation to prevent cutting too deeply into the soil. The result, as you can see, is a perfect folding back of the soil on itself, exposing mineral soil and sandwiching beneath it the organic layer where it will provide immense benefit to the seedlings. I call it the Oreo cookie effect.
So what we're looking at are these trenches and furrows that we've made. And basically this is just mimicking what Mother Nature would do if we had a windthrow event, which is pretty common here in northern Maine.
On October 26th, 2020, en route to another job, Chris arranged for the machine to stop at Bombadil Tree Farm to disc trench the approximately 15 acres, about 6 hectares, that we decided to site prep and replant. Here you see it in action, disc trenching 7 acres, a little less than 3 hectares, within our middle clear cut, under the supervision of another Irving Woodlands forester, Alex. It took the disc trencher only 5 hours to complete my 15 acres. 15 acres is about 6 hectares. Look like good soil to you? Oh, yeah. Will trees grow here? You promise? You promise trees will grow here?
If you plant them right, they'll grow.
Oh man, you'll come back and plant them for me, right?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Here Ken is inspecting the soil profile of one inverted furrow and comments on the beautiful thick organic layer.
Look right here at how thick the organic pad is. I mean, you're down to here, an organic pad. Then just below here you've got this zone of leaching where all the minerals have been leached out of it and they're deposited just below it.
Did I hear you right? You're saying that we've set ourselves up for some success?
I certainly hope so, yes.
I like that. Yeah. And I love that Oreo cookie concept with the organic layer in between, because then over the years, as the roots continue to develop, that in effect becomes a slow release fertilizer in addition to holding some moisture. Am I correct?
Should be, yeah.
Nature is an expert at responding to disturbances. Sometimes that response aligns well with human goals and desires, and other times it does not. We have already seen in Chapter 4 of this series where nature's response to areas within our 2019 clear cuts perfectly aligns with our management goal by blessing us with wonderful natural regeneration on many acres, many hectares of our harvested blocks. In other areas, however, nature responded with what you see here. Ground covered by dense thickets of raspberries and weedy stump sprouts. Even if we could fight our way through these thickets and plant tree seedlings on the inverted furrows created by the disc trencher, they would very likely lose their struggle for survival. The competition is just too great for them to have much of a chance. So, to improve our reforestation efforts' chances of success, we want to knock back this competing vegetation. There are two principal methods available to us. One we call mechanical and the other chemical. Mechanical includes powered and unpowered methods to cut or smother competing vegetation. Problems with these methods are that they are time-consuming and expensive, pose a considerable risk of injury to workers fighting their way through such rough conditions, and need to be repeated yearly until our trees get their heads above the competition. In our case here, that would be a minimum of 5 years. I have used mechanical means elsewhere on Bombadil Tree Farm with good success. One example is this 2.4 acre, 1 hectare, mixed white and Norway spruce plantation established on an abandoned agricultural field in the year 2002. I have highlighted it here in white. For several years, I mowed between the rows of young trees with a tractor-mounted rotary mower that we commonly call a bush hog. This site was a smooth-surfaced, unobstructed, former agricultural field very suitable for bush hogging. Unfortunately, surface conditions in our clear cuts preclude bush hogging with a tractor as a viable option. Our choices are pretty much limited to workers on foot with machetes, axes, or most likely powered clearing saws like the one seen in this photo. Our other option is chemical. In forestry, that means selecting from a group of pesticides known as herbicides. Issues related to pesticide use have, unfortunately, become polarized and politicized, with zealots on both sides of the debate adopting more than a small degree of fanaticism. This is unfortunate because all pesticides approved for use in the USA, Canada, and EU nations have well-established risk profiles and legally established indications allowing for sound decision-making regarding their use or avoidance. Moreover, as more information becomes available, product registration is reviewed and, if warranted, changed or even revoked. I see pesticides for what they are. They are but tools in a toolbox with different purposes and different risks. And they all have risks. There is no free lunch in anything that we do. I solidly support the motto of the Maine Board of Pesticides Control: think first, spray last. So let's begin by thinking, and the first step is to determine what we want to accomplish. We want to knock back this competing vegetation to allow us to get into the area to put tree seedlings in the ground and to give them a chance to grow. We don't need to kill everything. We just need to knock back the competition long enough for our new trees to become well established. We want a product that targets only the competing vegetation. We don't want a chemical that sterilizes the soil or is toxic to animal life or soil microbes. We want a product that can be purchased and applied at reasonable cost with minimal personal protective equipment. We want a product that does not persist in the environment, that quickly becomes inactivated, and quickly biodegrades to non-toxic substances. My family and neighbors drink, cook with, and bathe in the well water drawn from beneath our forest floor. We eat berries, nuts, fruit, and wild game that our forest provides. We have a very personal and vested interest in ensuring that we don't poison ourselves. If we cannot find an herbicide that meets all of our requirements, we quite simply just won't use any. In that case, however, we would only be able to plant trees on less than 4 acres of the 15 acres that would greatly benefit from reforestation. This 7-acre block within our middle clear cut would be futile to plant without first knocking back the competing vegetation. Highlighted here in white is a 1.5 acre block blessed with a minor amount of competing vegetation that we do intend to plant without herbicide preparation. Fortunately, there is an herbicide that satisfies all our requirements. In the USA, federal law requires that a user of any pesticide read and follow all instructions that appear on the label. Although the term label is used, a pesticide label is actually a very detailed multi-page booklet. And this label is 59, 60, 61 pages long. Pages 58 and 59 of our herbicides label list the woody brush and trees for which its use is approved, along with concentrations of spray solution. The bottom of page 12 details how the product should be applied using handheld sprayers, the application method that we will be using. This up-close view details spray droplet size and specifies to apply the spray mix by the spray-to-wet technique, avoiding runoff. The label instructs that we use a 1 to 1.5% mixture for the species of woody brush that we want to control. So, just to make sure we get good results, why not use a 2 or even 3% solution? Sure, okay, let's do it. Wrong answer. It is a violation of federal law to apply a pesticide in a concentration or manner not specified on the label. Chapter 2 of this video series explained the rationale behind establishing a system of permanent access trails in our clear cuts. Without them, I would now be forced to hire contractors to apply the herbicide, either aerially or by ground. With my trails in place, I can perform the chemical site preparation myself at a considerable cost saving. My primary sprayer is this 65-gallon rig that attaches to my tractor's 3-point hitch. 65 gallons is 245 liters. Its pump attaches to the tractor's power takeoff. The spray boom, designed for low directed treatment of a rather narrow band of vegetation, is not suitable for my current use and remains folded and safely out of the way or removed completely. I will use a handheld spray gun that, together with 50 feet of hose, allows me to reach 75 feet into the areas between my trails and hit most areas needing treatment. 50 feet is 15 meters and 75 feet is 23 meters. By maintaining an unsprayed central path until I work back toward my access trail and tractor, I am never in contact with spray-dampened foliage, and thereby prevent skin and even clothing contact with the spray solution. I will later return to small patches that I am unable to reach using the handgun with my backpack mist blower. Applying the label's specified 1 to 1.5% spray mixture in a spray-to-wet manner required 40 to 100 gallons of spray solution per acre, depending upon the density and height of the vegetation needing control. This equates to 100 to 250 liters per hectare. That required a lot of water, and I used my forwarding trailer to position these carboy totes, together holding over 500 gallons of clean water, alongside the areas needing treatment. 500 gallons is about 1,900 liters. To help protect against spills, I carry my jug of herbicide concentrate in a thick-walled plastic tub made by cutting a standard 55-gallon barrel in half. I also pour from the jug into my measuring jar while both remain protected within the tub. As added protection against spills while pouring the measured concentrate into the sprayer tank, it's a good idea to place an inexpensive plastic kiddie pool under the spray rig. Applying herbicide by handheld equipment, as I have done, is time-consuming. Including tank refill time, I averaged 2 to 2.5 hours per acre, which is 5 to 6 hours per hectare. I typically worked for a couple hours in the morning and another couple hours in the late afternoon, and completed my planned 11 acres of herbicide treatment in less than a week. Please be on the lookout for the next video in this series, where you will join me to plant our first trees. I hope to post it on YouTube before this winter is behind us. Until then, Kathy and I bid you farewell from Bombadil Tree Farm, just outside Ashland, Maine, in the United States of America.